Hey there, Christopher here. And for those who don't know who are just popping in for the first time, I'm the guy who interviews career professionals from all over the globe, as well as entrepreneurs, to give you the insights to help you find your future career. Now, what have I got in store for you today? We're diving into the world of an online business and becoming an online entrepreneur, creating that true lifestyle business. And I spoke with this guest on Life as a good 55-minute conversation that I did kind of draw down to about 2 clips here that I'm going to share with you today. And he shared 5 key points to having success within an online business. You're not going to want to miss that. And the other thing that I selected to share with you today is his day in the life. What did things look like early on? What was that grind look like? How did he structure his business and all those things in order to succeed? Plus, he also does share what it looks like on the other side after he's, kind of, quote unquote, made it. Well, anyway, I've got a lot lined up for you here today. I do encourage you to listen to the full-length audio version after you watch this video. You can do so wherever you access your podcast. Just do that search for Life as a ... Oh, and by the way, I would love a like or subscribe. All right, well, let's get into today's video.
Yeah, so a couple things in terms of starting an online business that I would focus on to start with. Number one, at the core level and underneath everything, you have to get good and be great at the thing you do, and not only spend time on that to start with, but continue to spend time on that. You being able to build an online business really stems from you being great at the thing you do, presenting yourself as an authority figure and an expert in that space. So the meat of your content needs to come from you being great. I think that's so important. The second thing is your schedule and your calendar need to reflect it as a priority. And it's difficult to build online, especially in today's day and age, if it's something you do whenever you have time or whenever you feel like it. You really want to prioritize that. We filmed every Monday, 12 o'clock for 8 years, right? I spent 2 to 3, 4 hours every Sunday, the day before, prepping for it. So you want to prioritize these things in your calendar. Number 3, I'd say, is you want to model success. You want to look at people who are in the marketplace, see what they do, and not copy what they do, but model what they do. What do they talk about? What are the titles and thumbnails that they use? How do they intro their videos? Read the comments below and see what people are wanting. You can get a lot of video ideas from those things, and you do it in your own voice, right? You give your own version of those. I think that's really useful. Number 4, I'd say, is, think about your first 100 videos, certainly, just as practice. Like, you just got to get through those 100 videos to build the habit of creating content, posting content, the planning for it. Don't attach any emotions to the results of them. Just learn as you go, figure it out, and try and make every set of videos better than the last set. So if you film, let's say, put up 4 videos per month, look at that 4 and just find like one thing you could get better for the next 4 videos. And then look at that set and just improve one thing. Don't try and be perfect to start with. You're not going to be. And then lastly, I would just say with it is to set the time horizon long. Like, if you continue and you're consistent with posting and you post weekly or whatever it is you're going to do, you make every set better than the last, you model success, you keep getting better at your core thing, and you do that for a long enough period of time. It might take 3 years or 6 years or 6 months or however long, but eventually it's going to hit a tipping point where you're going to be great at the thing you're doing. Your content's going to be great. Your audience is going to be able to see it. And then you can build the lifestyle, monetize, and stuff that you want to do after that.
As far as what you're doing right now, of course, being online, obviously having the YouTube channels, but also being on some other platforms too, and now building your brand and building your business in several different ways. What does a typical day look like for you right now? I'm sure there's several different things you're involved in. You're wearing a lot of different hats, but yeah, love to hear about it.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think first too, I'll paint a picture of what the past like 7 years day in the life looked like, as we built this thing.
Sure.
I think that'll
Yeah.
be useful. And then we can get to present, you know, especially when someone's starting, for the listeners who are like starting an online endeavor, or like you've got a main thing and you're doing this as a side deal. I think it's really, really important to not stop doing the main thing, until the side thing can replace the main thing. I think that's a mistake I see a lot of people make. And so in the beginning, when we were doing the social media, doing YouTube videos, 2017, I was coaching, full time. Coaching full time looked like, wake up, maybe teach 6 hours a day, sort of in-person lessons. We would try and find a time to film a video. So I've had a partner in this in YouTube who helped do all the filming and editing, Mary, which was super helpful. Another tactical thing, if you can find a way to find people, other who's who can help you do this stuff, that's a big advantage of not just getting it done, but like the accountability to keep doing it when it's difficult. I've had great success with partners on that. So in the beginning, it looked like I still did my main thing, which was coach in person. We would film videos in between. I didn't have to do all the editing and such of those videos, which is to me a big reason why this whole thing worked. So I was like, coach film. Year one of YouTube and doing this, we got zero traction, essentially nothing. You got to post, your first like 100 videos just to kind of get going, right?
Yeah.
So that's year one. And then year two is like still not really making any money online, but now we're starting to get some traction with videos. So people are now wanting to come see me in person for coaching because they saw a YouTube video. So what happens then with some basic supply and demand is I start getting more and more and more and more and more people want to come see me. I only have X amount of hours to fill. So I was able to start raising my prices.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So I started making money, not directly online, but from the online audience. So that was kind of year two, kind of same thing for year three. And then in year 2, 3-ish, we decided to build our membership site out. So it's a monthly payment where people could send their videos in. We basically do the coaching online. Much less expensive than in person, but the quality is very, very, very good. And so once we did that and started that, then my schedule got very hectic for a couple of years, just very like busy and full. I'm still doing my main full-time job. Then I'm trying to do these online lessons and we're still filming videos. But eventually we got to the point where, we were doing enough online. So that was basically like I would wake up and work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., with some normal breaks in between. It was kind of like that Monday through Saturday. I took Sundays off. That would be like what that looked like then.
Pretty hectic.
And then, it was like the first couple of years to build the thing for sure were busy, and I knew that and was committed to that going in. But I knew there was light at the end of the tunnel. And my goal with that was like to reduce my in-person coaching time and build a team to handle this new, online coaching to remove my time from it. And so slowly but surely, I started decreasing my coaching hours, from let's say 30 hours a week to 20 to 15 to 10 to 5 to the point where I didn't coach at all for 2 years, which I would have thought you were crazy if you had told me that, 10 years ago. Yeah. And so that's when I learned, a bunch of things that helped me. The book Who Not How by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan about building teams helped me a ton. Highly recommend that read for those listening. And so I started to hire people onto the team as we got more revenue and put people in places, hire their coaches. We hired a full-time editor, a full-time assistant, things like that. And so my schedule from there changed. I spent about 2 years then kind of working full-time on the membership site. So we would do like a free trial offer. So someone would join, I would be their first contact point. I would sort of talk to them in the beginning and handle a lot of the coaching. And so that was pretty full-time. Meanwhile, we're putting out 2 to 3 YouTube videos per week. So there's the filming and playing of that. We've got some licensing deals with other companies we're filming for. So that's what I think that sets the stage a little bit better to give you my now answer of like what the now is. The now is I've got much more freedom.
Yeah.
The now is like my days could look kind of how I want, based on what we decide our priorities are. I still would prioritize, I spend a lot of energy and I'm big into personal development. So I prioritize my personal development time. That's like going to the gym, reading, personal development videos, meditation, stuff like that. But I would still try and spend like the chunk of my good brain time from like 7 a.m. to noonish on whatever our main priorities are. But that, to be honest, Christopher, I mean, that for me is very it's relative to what our income goals are. I could right now work probably 1 day a week, if I wanted to, and make a good amount of money. But it's if we want our revenues to be growing and going higher, it's
right.
So that's the freedom. I think that's at the end of what a lot of people are looking for. Once you get past your like baseline, I've got enough money to live and survive and pay my bills.
Yeah.
than to have choices, to work as you want or don't want based on the projects you want to be able to do. So longer answer, but hopefully that paints a picture of what it was like along the way.
100%, 100%. I'm glad you brought it up that way too, because I think a lot of times people focus in on that end, position that somebody's in, and they're like, "That's what I want," and people almost expect that overnight. So like
Mm,
even the way you explained it, like that initial part of your story took up the bulk of your speaking time in answering that question, which is great because it illustrates like there was a lot to that. There's a lot to that to get to this point where you are right now. And I think intrinsically people understand that it takes a lot of hard work, but they underestimate it at different points of sometimes, like they expect it all to happen in 6 months or 1 year or something like that. You know what I mean? And obviously it's going to be different for each individual who maybe entertain this notion or wants to go down that pathway. It could take a year. It could be 2 years. It could be 3. It could be 5 years, right? It really depends on what the person's doing, but being realistic about it, I think is a key point, So I'm glad
yeah.
that you answered it that way.
Now, I hope you found that video to be useful, but if you have further aspirations of learning more about what it takes, especially from the words of Eric, don't miss the full-length audio version. There we dive into several more topics, things like goal setting, as well as how to manage the fear of failure, and the insecurities attached with all of that. Plus, Eric shares a really great story, as well as sharing his insights on technology and the tools that can help you, build a business such as his. Anyway, you can find that wherever you access your podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, you name it. You can go to the podcast website, lifeasa.com. And once more, as I mentioned at the top, I would absolutely love a like or subscribe. We're a small channel, trying to do some good, trying to grow this out, and your support would be greatly appreciated. Anyhow, I'll have another video coming for you right next week, so don't miss it. All right, we'll see you then.